So the B2B sales and marketing cycle is broken. We know that the handshake between B2B sales and marketing isn't working. That relationship is broken, but why? We've all been talking about this, and how do we solve it? Stop telling me it's about process, and it's not about management believing that we all need to be together. I mean, that helps, but that's not going to change it, right? So why is it broken? It's broken because relationships are built on trust. Trust starts with integrity, and integrity starts on delivering on your promise. But marketing is not delivering on their promise. But why? Why isn't marketing delivering on their promise? Well, traditionally, they can't deliver on their promise. If you think, this is a really ugly slide I did on a plane last night. Apologies, my marketing team didn't get a hold of it beforehand. But you think about the B2B buyer's journey, and as they're going through, they don't have visibility into companies and into contacts as they're going through and making their decision in the earlier stages of the buying cycle. By the time it gets into sales and marketing, somebody has downloaded a white paper, called your call center, done something. They are so far down the line. You've lost your opportunity. Either they're down the line, they've made their decision, they're going with you, or they're down the line and they're just doing their research, the final stages. But where marketing can have an influence, if they can get in front of those opportunities ahead of time. So how can we shine a light on this full buyer's journey? So our story started 10 years ago. My story started, as I mentioned, I had a B2B services company, and we basically were doing closed-loop analytic reporting cross-channel for B2B marketers. We brought together Salesforce data with marketing automation data with web data. Cisco was a customer for 10 years, HP, Intel, Dell, Autodesk, Caterpillar. We had 20 B2B enterprise companies. We were doing 7-figure deals and just showing them all these awesome closed-loop reports. But you know what? It didn't move the needle. It wasn't doing anything. And this is kind of what Kevin was saying. It's like, oh, that's great. You can look back on this data, but it's not that exciting. So I had this idea 5 years ago. I said to Cisco, if we could just use that data, look at companies that purchase. What are their patterns of behavior? And then when other companies do the same thing, can we predict that they too will buy? So I start with saying, this is kind of where I was saying before, the joker in the room, as I was kind of finagling my presentation, I thought reporting is kind of a joke in a lot of ways. There is some value. I'm not saying you should kill reporting, but it's really not going to, it's not game changing. It's not going to help you. You're looking back on data. You can apply subjectivity to it. Once you look at a report, you decide, oh, 20% is good. Yay, that campaign worked. Really? Who knows? Why is that good, right? So are you actually driving the business forward? Are you helping grow your business? Predictive gives us the ability to take humans out and allow your data to drive your business forward. Imagine a world where your data tells you who your next customer is going to be. Imagine a world knowing exactly how much they're going to buy, what products they're going to buy, when they're going to buy, and what message you should give to them. That is the honest-to-God truth of what predictive intelligence can do for you. The challenge is that 60 to 90% of buyers are making their buying decisions before getting into your sales and marketing systems, says all the analysts. So whether it's Serious Decisions, Gartner, whoever it is, they're all talking about this, right? So myself and Cisco sought to find buyers at every stage of the buying journey, the early stages all the way through to the bottom, and not just at the contact level. So everyone who's doing and building these models are talking about contacts, and they're talking about leads. If you take that information to a data scientist, they'll tell you there's not enough data to be predictive on one person. The beauty for B2B marketers, for the first time, B2B marketers have an advantage over B2C because they have exponentially more data. B2B marketers can take all the anonymous activity, tie it to a company, and say all of those people and all of their activity, we know they belong to this company, and we can understand their patterns of behavior. Now you're giving the math team not just one person and a couple downloads here and there and a couple activities, but you're giving them, could be hundreds, thousands, depending on the size of the company, of activity that they can actually analyze and put into their models. So, it all comes back to this fundamental principle, and that people say, well, how is this possible? We know in the Amazon world, or, and when I'm shopping online, which I have a very big problem doing, I try to say I don't focus on money, but I freaking love clothes. And I'm always shopping. And when I go to look at something and I don't finish that checkout on Intermix, and I go over to my Facebook account or LinkedIn, I see those ads come up. And we all know that works, right? Because you know what they're doing? They see your intent. They see, I really like those pants. And I looked at them, and I kind of zoomed in on them, and I put them in the shopping cart, and I walked away. Same thing happens for B2B buyers, right? You're going and you're looking at your products, and you're doing things and doing your research, but far before you get to the vendor's website. You're doing it on third-party sites. So most of your buyers are not doing their behavior on your activity. But how can we tap into that behavioral activity, that scent for B2B, and make that predictive. So I like to say you're sitting on an untapped pile of data that you can actually drive your business forward. So 2 ingredients when you think about when people are talking about predictive. There's descriptive data and what's called intent data. So descriptive data, 99% of the vendors who are doing predictive intelligence are relying on the left-hand side on this concept of descriptive data. Descriptive data is attributes about a company and about a contact. Job role, job function, size of company, the company's growing. How do they get those attributes? So they buy them from the sources like Net Prospects and Data.com and Dun & Bradstreet and Compass Media, all those people who sell information about companies and contacts. And then they scrape the web for them. So they scrape static pages, about us pages. They scrape press releases to see that you're getting funding. They scrape job postings, right? They get all these attributes. What does that do? That simply tells you that they're the right ideal buyer. That doesn't tell you they have a need. That doesn't tell you they're in market to buy now. So it's going to move the needle, and you're going to see an increase, and maybe you'll see a 2x increase, 3 if you're lucky, but I doubt it, using descriptive static data. But when you move over into the intent world, and you start using behavioral data, what does it tell you? It tells you that people are leaving behind a trace that they have a need for your products. So where do you get that trace from? You get the trace from all of your anonymous web activity data. So not just about the contacts and the known, but the anonymous data that's happening on your own website, your call centers, people calling in your call center. We're looking at the activity tables in your CRM and marketing automation data, social data, search activity. So taking a search term by IP address, there are ways to get that information of what people are searching on external to your world, and then tying that back together. And then the one thing that I'm trying not to make this a pitch about 6 Sense, but we've spent 2 years building what we call a B2B web. We have thousands of B2B publishers, blogs, communities that give us their activity data. They give it to us in an exchange format where we give them value, they give us data, right? And so what does that do? It gives us the ability to help Cisco's, Dell's, NetApp's, Intel's of the world make better predictions on their data, and it lets them have better insight into the leads and the things that they're trying to sell. So we have these relationships, and we built this data community where we can see this activity data. So tying together the static to say, are they the right buyer, with, okay, let's look at their behavior and see, are they in market to buy now? That's where you have the magic happen.